And can't thank you enough for being part of the show for so many years. As you know, this year in November, I celebrated 21 years as a broadcaster, and I feel like I'm 21 years old and I'm just getting out of college, getting into this. So I hope you all get to do the things that you love and love what you do so that you could feel how I feel when I wake up in the morning when I can't wait to just be a big kid and go out there and have some fun and connect with people that truly are remarkable and exciting to talk to and mean a lot to me. And one of those people is coming up in just a second here. Nick DiPillo is going to be joining me, the head coach of the Moyne Dolphins women's basketball program. Him and I had the opportunity to speak first when he accepted the job. And ever since then, we've kept in touch, and I really do value and appreciate and respect his time. He's a few games in as the head coach, but we're a bunch of months in that we've been able to build this bond, and definitely am happy to have him as a beacon here in central New York. Also coming up today on the broadcast, Jason Poles will be joining me, Syracuse Orange defensive back alum and the current Syracuse University Director of Advancement for the Southwest region. He'll be talking with me about the bowl game coming to the West Coast where he is, and we'll also speak on the season and Fran Brown. And then we'll have Prince-Tyson Gulley on. He knows what it's like to go to a bowl game. You could see him there in the snow at the New Era Pinstripe Bowl, and him and I will have the chance to talk about his journey, his time at Syracuse, and his thoughts on Fran Brown and the 2024-25 campaign for Syracuse. So with that being said, we have our all-new Dolphin Dive and our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Moyne College here on Wake Up Call, and I'm here with the women's basketball head coach, and that is Mr. Nick DiPillo. Nick, how are we doing today?
Doing all right, my friend. How are you?
Doing very well, and I know that you've gotten definitely challenged this season. You and I were talking about it off the air. You went out to Puerto Rico. What was that experience like? Because when you go and you take trips like that, and I know this team has been able to take a few trips here in this transition to Division One, having to play a lot of games on the road. What was the Puerto Rico experience like for you in those games with UNC Greensboro as well as the University of Southern Indiana? And just beyond basketball, what that trip maybe could have meant for this team, does mean for this team.
The beyond basketball piece, it was really important. It was, even though we've traveled a ton, it was the first time where we've been able to kind of keep our feet in one place, share a lot of team meals together, some other bonding things together. Obviously, enjoy some good weather, which didn't, which wasn't a bad thing. So, aside from the two games and just the fact that we were, you know, away, it was important for us to spend time together, and kind of grow as a team. It's been, like you said, it's been a transition in a lot of different ways, between injuries and tough schedule, and doing the math, we traveled over 13,000 miles in the first month of the season, for away games, having played two Power Four teams and then five other teams that went to the conference
away
finals
games
of their, having played two conference the previous year. So it's been a lot of ups and downs and getting to know each other.
Yeah.
So I think the trip was really, really good for a chemistry and a culture standpoint.
You said 13,000 miles in the first month of this season. I mean, you didn't put this schedule together, so this is a schedule that you inherited. But what have you done to kind of navigate through the fact that this team is living more time on an airplane and in the airport and somewhere else than they are at home? Just how you've navigated through that.
Again, it hasn't always been easy, but so much of it is about just focusing on the day-to-day process of getting better, of building chemistry, of kind of figuring out the best way for us to play together. We've had a decent amount of injuries this year, which obviously every team goes through. But we did go 35 practices without a full squad together. So we didn't have, up until a few days before Puerto Rico, we didn't have our full team practicing together. So obviously we're trying to jam pack, what takes weeks and months of chemistry building into hours, right? Hours on the practice floor, and then trying to transfer that to a game and figure out what lineups play best together, figure out who should be playing how many minutes and things of that nature. So, definitely not the easiest thing to do. Fortunately, the players have given each other and given me grace through that process, because we know, even though college basketball season goes relatively quick, when you're in the day to day of it, there's a good amount of time for you to kind of build, that chemistry you need going into conference play.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, building that chemistry, it's difficult when you have a team that has returners, has freshmen, has transfers. I know that, Division 1 is dealing with this across many sports, especially basketball and football. So, for you, you're a new head coach for this team. So coming in here and being the new figurehead of the team, there's new staff members that you brought in. There's the transfers and the freshmen that came in, plus the injuries, plus the travel, and the tough schedule. How do you navigate through all of this? Because there's so much new, and at the same time, like you said, when you have all this new together, you want to build the chemistry of the team, and then you have injuries happen. And like you said, going 35 practices without the full team. How do you build chemistry when we're met with new and we're met with the things we can't control, like injuries?
It's really about figuring out what your priorities are and what the foundation of your program what you want that to look like, and just focusing on those daily behaviors every day. We do talk a lot about winning behaviors and what the standards of our program are. So really, as all of that's happening, as a transition and the growth is happening, it's really just falling back onto your foundation. It's really about just fighting for your culture every day and making sure the behaviors that we as a staff believe in that are the foundation of what we're doing are repeated and echoed and mirrored in everything we do, regardless of who is or isn't on the floor. So that way, as we get whole, as our chemistry gets better, as we get more time together under our belt,
Yeah.
when all that comes together, the foundation of who we are is set.
And when you talk about that, speaking here with Nick DiPillo, the Moyne Dolphins women's basketball head coach in his first season with the team here in 2024-25, their second year in transition from Division 2, pardon me, to Division 1 for women's basketball in the NCAA. When you say that, hey, the way that we deal with the things we can't control, the way that we navigate through injuries and all these things that have gone on is to make sure that we have those foundational pieces that stay the same no matter who's on the floor. You and I have talked about what you want it to be. Now that we're a few games into the season, what is this foundation? What are the things that you've really been leaning on and honing in on and saying, no matter who's out there, no matter what's going on, this is what the team needs to be?
Yeah, we actually talked about this in the team meeting last week, and the first thing is just having an unbelievable joy, tangible joy for each other and whoever's on the floor. Leaning into um, the group and the team. Because once you do that, and once it becomes authentic, it becomes contagious, and it's tangible to everybody around you. It uplifts you in the times that you're down. The second thing being an unmatched work ethic. We have to be at the point where we're outworking our opponents, not only because we have to, but because we have time to catch up, right? We've got things to catch up on and areas of growth that we need to really, really attack. And third, I think it's just the responsiveness, like just able to respond in all scenarios, whether it's something as simple as a phone call or a text message to responding to coaching, responding to accountability, whether it's from the staff or from your teammates. So yeah, I think those are the three foundational things that as we grow through this season and eventually close out December and turn into conference play in the new year, if we've done that, then we've done our job to help prepare us for conference play.
Yeah, and last season this team was I know you weren't here, but this team was challenged extensively when it came to non-conference play. This year, with you being here and like we talked about, a schedule that you didn't put together, but you started the season at Stanford. You had to go all the way to the West Coast, go out to California, play that game, and then you had to go to Stony Brook just a few days later. Then you're at home with the University of Rhode Island. Then you're playing Illinois State and the University of Illinois on back-to-back days, Sunday and Monday. Illinois ranked 22 in the country at that time. Then you went to Puerto Rico, and then you came home for a couple. So when you look at these games that you've played and who you've gone up against, including a ranked team in the University of Illinois at the time, what are some of those takeaways from these games, from being road warriors and from having a ranked opponent so early on in the season on November 18th and playing so many games in a short period of time? I mean, I look at those first 5 games of the season between November 4th and November 18th. You already had 5 games in.
It's easy to focus on the shortcomings and where you wish we were better. I think coaches, our natural tendency is to look at that. But given where we are and what we've been through, there's unbelievable amount of positives for us to take away. Um, with the exception of probably one game, we've played some really, really good basketball against some really, really good teams. And, the first 14 or 15 minutes of the Stanford game, it was a single digit game, and we did a lot of things really, really well to hold a historically terrific program, in striking distance. We went to Illinois State, and they're a borderline NCAA tournament team, and challenged for their league every year. We were tied at halftime, and it was a single digit game in the fourth quarter. Right, you mentioned Stony Brook, like right after we flew cross country from Stanford to play Stony Brook, we were leading with 7 minutes to go. Even against BU, last Thursday we won 3 out of 4 quarters and had a 13-point lead. Now, can we focus on? I wish we closed them out, absolutely, and we'll learn from that. But 5 of the last 8 quarters we've played, we've won. So now it's about expanding that positive and limiting the big part of some of the negatives that we've had. So it's been important for us. And again, coach, we have to catch ourselves at times and make sure that we're spinning the narrative to where we need it to be and what the players need to hear in any given moment. But we have played some really good basketball against some really good teams. And our big thing is just make sure we focus on what's directly in front of us and ahead of us. And right now that's improving. Getting through finals and preparing for Saturday's game against a really good Seton Hall team.
You want to see the ball go in the basket. Like you said, you had moments where you were close with some of these teams. You mentioned the Stony Brook game and coming down the stretch and different things you did. You and I were talking off the air about the Boston University game where they came into Ted Grant Court and you played a hard fought game, lost that 60 to 55 within a couple possessions there. So the team at this point at the time we're talking is in search of their first victory of the season. When you look at morale and you look at keeping everybody in it and they want to see that victory and they want to have that celebration and they've been so close in some of these moments but it hasn't happened yet, like you said, you want to spin the narrative to be positive and work in your favor. With you as the head coach of this team, looking at this and saying, okay, we played a bunch of games, we're still looking for that first win, we've gotten close but we haven't gotten over the hump. What is the narrative? What are you saying? And what is the morale like right now with this team, knowing that they're frustrated, but they're also working extremely hard at the same time?
It's funny you even bring that up because we've spent so much time the last couple of days talking about exactly that. The morale, like the way we practiced yesterday, um, you'd have no idea what our record is, and that's a testament to the staff and to the players, because they came in open mind, open ears, ready to work, ready to improve, ready to get better. Um, you know, what you tell them is you let them know what's in your heart, and as much as they're yearning for that first victory, that first celebration in a locker room, so are we, and we want that so badly for them because that's ultimately why you get into coaching, right? It's
Yeah.
coaches don't really win games, right? It's the players. Like we hope we can put them in the best possible position to be successful. Then they have to go out and do it. So when they do it, you want to live inside of their celebration. And when you fall short, it tears at you, from the inside. So for us, again, it's if you focus it on anything other than a process and what's directly in front of you, it's easy to be pulled, the other direction. I shared with the team the other day. I saw this saying, there's a reason why your windshield is so much bigger than your rearview mirror because it's so much more important that you look ahead at what's in front of you than as opposed to what's in the past. And while we can learn from the past, if our focus is anything but forward, we're doing ourselves a disservice and we're going to delay the opportunity to get that win that we're really really close to.
Yeah, and opportunity will be in front of you here before the end of 2024. We know that you're going to be on December 14th this Saturday on the road, Seton Hall in Familiar Digs for you, of course. What is that game going to mean to you personally to go back to Seton Hall, to have that opportunity, and also to go back to home because you've been making this your new home, but New Jersey is home, Seton Hall was home. So what's that going to be like for you?
Oh, it's gonna be awesome. I mean, we spent 5 years there. We did a lot of really good things, won a Big East championship, two NCAA tournaments, a few NITs, made a lot of lifelong friends, people who I still keep in touch with. Um, you know, Maya played there, for 3 years. That's where obviously where I met Coach Jackson. She, played 3 years there. I recruited her out of high school. To play in front of a lot of family and friends. We're going to have nearing 200 people, that we're leaving, getting tickets for. So it's going to be an awesome experience in a place that means a lot to me, in a state that means a lot to me. Um, Taking the personal side out of it, I love the opportunity for our kids to go compete and see where our growth lies against, again, a team that's playing really, really well.
Yeah.
I think maybe their only loss at this point was to USC. So they're a really good team that'll finish in the top, two, three, four of the Big East. So I'm really excited about that opportunity. It'll be weird coaching on the other side of the scores table, but it's something I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, and I had the opportunity to actually speak with their team because I cover the Big East. So had the opportunity to speak with their student athletes as well as their coach, and excited for what this game is going to be for you. Like you said, interesting that you're going to be on the other side of it, but definitely looking forward to this game, and a game that I can circle here, and Anthony Bozzella, as well as everyone that's on the staff and whatnot for this game that's going to be up against Seton Hall that's coming up here. And like you said, gives you an opportunity for your team to see exactly where you're at with a team inside of the Big East whose current record is 7-2, and they've won 3 in a row. Let's get into some rapid fire here. Mr. DiPillo, you get to go first. What do you got for me?
Should have been prepared for this. All right,
Okay.
holiday season. Uh, what's the what's your go-to Christmas song?
Oh man, what is my go-to Christmas song? That's tough. Probably. Oh man, I'm trying to think. I mean, I love Rudolph, so Rudolph the
Okay.
Red-Nosed Reindeer, classic, classic. I'd say that, and then I'd probably say maybe something from church. Something like that. I like the song. I like the first Noel. I mean, my parents would always put on Christmas music when we were decorating the house, so I'll probably do that in my house too. I don't know if I have one I can just like put my finger. I'm sure there is, but
Yeah.
I'm an old school guy. So I'm like if I find a song, it's like someone that did it that did it back in the 70s or the 80s or early 90s. Like I'm not looking for some like beatbox remix to Rudolph right now, So I mean, I like rap, but not like that. So
Okay.
yeah, I'd probably say that. What is what is your favorite Christmas tradition?
Um, I've always been, not to be bah humbug, I think when you get older, before you have kids, Christmas becomes so commercialized.
Yeah.
You just like the spending time with people, right? And then you have kids, and then so for me, the best tradition is just the waking up in the morning and opening gifts and having breakfast and just spending time, with all your family. Because, obviously in this profession, time is rare, and it's something that you cherish when you get it. So just to have, a morning where nothing else matters in the world, and other than those who are around you, just having that is definitely my favorite thing.
Yeah. I can I can agree and I can appreciate it. I think the older you get, you don't care so much about what you're opening in the box. You care about who's around you while you're opening those boxes. So,
Absolutely.
what is your next one for me?
Um, feel like we're on a theme here. So, Christmas Day meal. What's the best thing that you traditionally eat?
Oh man. So I'm Italian and Hispanic. So we have my dad and I do like a spin on the seven fishes, but we do four,
Yeah.
and we do scallops, shrimp, lobster tail, and what's the other one? Oh, and we do calamari for those
Yep.
that are not Italian. So, but calamad. So we do that, and then my mom will do like stuffed shells, like my grandma used to do, and my aunt, and my mom will do Italian wedding soup. So, I would say those are kind of all together in the mix for me on that.
Yeah, I'm jealous. The seven fish thing, big fan of it. I wanted to do it this year. My mother-in-law put the kibosh on it, and she kind of went rogue on the Christmas menu. So very disappointed. I don't know if she's listening, and I don't know if this will pressure her into adding more seafood to the menu, but it would be great if she would reconsider. Um, but that's fine.
I leave my show as an open place for people to air their laundry and to hope that they can make a positive change. You just call somebody out internationally, right? So shout out
Absolutely.
to Nick's mother-in-law. I don't know you, but he's made it very clear that you need to put some fish on the menu. So,
Absolutely.
so my question back to you is, if you could, okay, like childhood gift. I remember going back and watching the Santa Claus with Tim Allen, and it was like some people stopped believing in Santa because they never got that gift that they asked for. What was the gift as a kid that you always wanted that maybe you got or maybe you never got? Like, what was that one thing where every year you're like, all right, I asked for this, I'm going to ask for it again? What was that?
Yeah, I think honestly the one gift that I can remember when I was a kid that stuck out to me that I was beyond excited to get, I don't know, fourth or fifth grade, the original Nintendo. For me, that was the one that if you said, "Hey, look back on the best gift you've ever gotten that you remember when you were a kid," easily the Nintendo. Opening that, I remember. I don't have a ton of memories the older I get of when I was really, really small, but I definitely remember my reaction, how excited I was about that.
Yeah, and I can honestly tell you that I got one of those like gaming device things where you can just like plug the drive into any TV. So when I was
Yep.
down in Orlando with my dad and he was like doing something, getting ready for the day, I was playing Chip and Dale, I was playing Mario, I was playing Darkwing Duck, all from the original Nintendo. So
Yeah.
that's I could definitely appreciate that. Nick DiPillo, Moyne women's basketball head coach, inside the 2024-25 season. I implore you to go out and see them on the road. Go and see his homecoming back at Seton Hall this weekend, Saturday, December 14th. That'll be at 1 p.m. Eastern Time in South Orange, New Jersey, and then they're back at home at Ted Grant Court here in Central New York, December 21st at noon on that Saturday against Colgate, and on December 28th, the following Saturday, against the University at Buffalo at noon as well. So the next 3 Saturdays are the next 3 games, and 2 out of 3 are at home. Mr. DiPillo, as always, I appreciate your time. I hope you have safe travels, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
Appreciate you. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas to you and yours, my friend.
Same to you. Merry Christmas.
Talk to you.
That coming from Nick DiPillo here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We're going to jump into our next conversation here on the broadcast. We have back to back to back this morning of fantastic guests. Nick DiPillo joining us for the Dolphin Dive, and Jason Poles joining us from the West Coast in just a second here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, the director of advancement for the wonderful, wonderful, wonderful opportunity in the Southwest region for Syracuse University to continue that alumni connection and to build those inroads and those bridges on the West Coast. So very excited to have Jason Poles going to be joining me here in a second. Syracuse defensive back alum of the football program and the director of advancement of the Southwest region for Syracuse University. The bowl game that Syracuse is playing in at DirecTV Holiday Bowl is in his neck of the woods as Syracuse will travel to California. They're traveling right over to Jason Poles' way, so giving him a home game. He's the one person for this bowl game matchup that could say, yeah, this was great. So, like, we're definitely excited for the opportunity to speak with Jason here as we bring him in. And Jason Poles here hanging out with us. Jason, how are we doing this morning?
Doing well. Just doing a mic check. I'm assuming you can hear me.
Yeah, I could hear you here. So happy to have you here. Happy to have you on the broadcast. When Syracuse found out that they were going to the DirecTV Holiday Bowl, fans were not very excited. And not excited in the sense of they were hoping they would be down in Florida. They would hope, it was a direct flight, that it was going to be, where a lot of snowbirds are and whatnot. Now, San Diego, I hear, is a beautiful city. I've only heard good things about San Diego. They call it the most perfect weather in America. And so San Diego, a beautiful place, beautiful weather. And of course, at this time of year, to have that nice weather is really good. However, the fans and players and whatnot that want to get over there, media that wants to get over there, it's not an easy trip. You gotta go on a plane, stop somewhere, and then you got to take another flight from there, probably 4 or 5 hours. I will be coming on the West Coast. By the grace of God, I will be over there because when it comes to covering these bowl games and covering Syracuse football, you know how I do. So I will be over there at the Holiday Bowl. But I wanted to get your thoughts because to you, this is a home game. To you, this is an easy ride. But to the rest of the country, they're like, man, that's so far away.
You know what? The trip will be well worth it, is what I'll say.
Okay.
It is not an easy trip to get, from the East Coast to the West Coast, but San Diego's a great city. I live about an hour and a half away. I go down there all the time. I was just there 2 weeks ago. There's plenty to do, and there's plenty of sun for everybody. So, buy your ticket, get yourself here, and enjoy the warm weather.
And for you and I have talked about this before. You're the director of advancement for Syracuse University in the Southwest region, and you're based out there in California. So for you, what does this game do for advancement? What does this game do for building inroads, connections, fundraising? How does this game being in San Diego help you and what you're doing for Syracuse on the West Coast?
Yeah, it definitely brings people out of the woodworks. First thing I'll say is that obviously Syracuse going to bowl games a great thing. And you're never going to downplay that, regardless of where you play.
Right.
You're going to play the game. You're going to enjoy the fact you get an opportunity as a team to be together for one last time, one great moment, and then obviously for the coaches to practice more, to get players more experience, and it's a lifelong memory. So it's something that as the kids will experience that they'll have for a lifetime. So it's a great opportunity. And it's interesting that this is the third game for this team playing on the West Coast.
Yeah.
It's a great opportunity for everyone all around. And let alone, we had 20 of our football players here this spring doing a Mainmaster program for 2 weeks. So this will be their fourth time back to the West Coast. And all of that being said, it's a great opportunity for advancement because the more opportunity we get a chance to see our team, watch them play in person, it's an attraction. There's tons of people who were reaching out even before the bowl games announced, hoping that it would come to San Diego. People were buying hotel rooms and reaching out. It's just another touch point that you can get in front of your donors. As we say, athletics is the front door. It's the porch of the university. It's the front-facing, the thing that gets most attention. So it's a great way to reach out to our fan base, our donors, our parents, and just let them know that we're here and an exciting time to watch another game.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, this is the third game that Syracuse is playing on the West Coast. They played at UNLV, played at Allegiant Stadium against UNLV and won that game, and in the non-conference, and then went on the road to face off against Cal and defeated Cal in that matchup. So, they're 2-0 on the West Coast. That's good news. And so the opportunity to have the tic-tac-toe, what has that done for you and your job as the director of advancement, that they've already been over there twice this season and they've won? Because you said, athletics is the front door of a university and a college, right? It's the first thing you see, as you just said. So what people have seen and what you've done in these, the Southwest region and building these inroads on the West Coast and across the country, what these people have seen, including on their doorstep on the West Coast, is that Syracuse football is 2-0 when they come out west.
Yeah, and winning is always better. Just being out there in Vegas for everyone to come out and have the stadium really just being filled with just Syracuse people all in the streets. It was a great feeling. Same thing in Cal. You had people coming from Seattle down to California for games. People come from all across the country in Vegas. It's just really a great opportunity for us to showcase, what the university, not just the athletic department, but the university as a whole, what we're doing, how we're doing things, and now they can actually play a part in the success in the future and shaping our university and our athletic department. So, it gives us that opportunity to do that. interacting with a lot of our folks, who normally we don't normally get this. I've been out here for 5 years, and to have your football team come out for 3 times in 1 year, it's a great thing. So for me, it's take advantage of it as best you can, and get as many people involved and going to the games and all the things surrounding the game too, so that they can actually interact with the university.
I was in the room when Fran Brown talked about sending a bottle of champagne to Ryan Day for Cal McCord. Do you send a bottle of champagne to the Pac-12 for these West Coast games?
You have to. I think it's really opened up an opportunity for the university to spread out, and show our strength out here on the West Coast. And I think that is one thing that you've seen. Every game that we've played, everywhere you've gone, it's always a strong showing of Orange, and it's an opportunity for us to showcase that we're here to support, not just to watch a game, but to actually participate in your philanthropy. So, it's been great all around. It is odd to fly that far for a conference game, but it's today's world.
What do I need to know about San Diego? Now, I'd never been out west before, and then my dad and I brought each other to the World Series, as I am a Diamondback fan. So we went to the World Series Game 3, not this past season, but the season before. What do I need to know as I travel to California for the first time and go all the way west? What should I know about San Diego? What should I know about California? What should I know about smog? What should I know about not being able to sit on the Hollywood sign because a helicopter is going to come put me in an aluminum foil bag and take me out? What do I need to know about California?
It's a beautiful part of the country. Last week it was 82 degrees, and oftentimes I forget that, like, it's December, and, I'll go out and I'll walk my dog, or right after we get done, I'm dressed in my workout gear because I'm going to go on a 3.5 mile run. And, you go outside and it's not cold. I mean, it's cold to us, but I will say at night, be prepared for the chilliness. It is desert weather, so there is no humidity in the air.
Okay.
But it's a beautiful part of the country. A lot of culture down there in San Diego. Like I said, there's plenty to do. If you really are, if you're an outdoorsy person, this is a perfect place to live. So you'll go down there. There's plenty of great restaurants, museums, obviously the zoo. I like my tequila. There's a great tequila store down there. So there's plenty to do on the water, not in the water. So it's a great thing. It's a great place to be. You'll really enjoy it. Just walk out, and Gaslamp's a great place to really experience a lot of bars and restaurants, a little nightlife, have a little fun at night, and it's a great place to be.
Well, it's good to hear, and I'm excited for the opportunity to get out there. And this opportunity comes in the first season of Fran Brown, not only as the head coach of the Orange, but the head coach of any team, as he was coming from being an assistant at Georgia and winning 2 national championships. What is it about Fran Brown that you have seen this season that has been what he said it was going to be? When he made the comments in the beginning, when you heard from other people about his personality, who he is, how he carries himself, when you got like the who is Fran Brown to this is what I'm hearing about Fran Brown to this is what Fran Brown is saying about Fran Brown to now the team is 9-3. Bring me through what you heard, what you got to know in the beginning, and what's come to fruition from that.
Yeah, I think the first thing when you look back on his tenure here in his first year, what you first heard was like, who is this guy? Like, how do we hire a secondary coach who's never been, a head coach or even an assistant head coach calling plays or anything else like that? My thing was, for me, I wanted to see who he was going to surround himself with that will help him be a better head coach. And as I said before, the team came out here, 20 football players came out here in the spring, and Fran came out, and we had a couple of events, and I had a chance to spend some time with him and his wife. And one thing I noticed was he wasn't trying to sell you anything.
Yeah.
He was going to be himself, and you either enjoyed that or you liked that or you didn't. We took him into one of our donors' offices. We met for about an hour. And then the donor calls me like the next day. He goes, Jason, I really had a great time. That was awesome. He's great. And he went on and then he goes, Jason, but one thing I realized, we sat for an hour and we didn't talk anything about football. And I really enjoyed it. I really liked it. So that's the thing that you sort of like about him is he's going to be who he is. And, he's not selling you anything. He's just going to be himself and you're along for the ride or not. And when you're a player, that's a very black and white thing. You're either going to like him or you're not. If you don't, then it's not for you. If you do, you're really going to buy into it because he's not selling you anything. He just believes it. And so I think that has brought into his success from recruiting to, planning to having a great first year. As we get to know Fran more, that first year, I always say that it's I'm not going to say it's easy to get to the top. We're not at the top yet. It's hard to get to the top, but it's harder to stay there. So now that we're 9-3, knock on wood that we're 10-3 by the end of the season,
Yeah.
We're no longer going to be a surprise to other teams. They're going to mark us as, hey, this is a tough game and prepare for us differently. So that's the challenge. The challenge starts there. Can we maintain this? And next year's schedule is tough.
Yeah.
It's really, really a tough schedule that we have next year. And, it's going to take everyone to actually help us be successful.
Yeah. I mean, I think the interesting thing is Syracuse, I believe, I vote in the ACC, a bunch of different things inside of the ACC, and I'm grateful to the ACC for that and for many things of over a decade of covering the conference. And many thanks to John Swafford before, Jim Phillips now, Amy Yacola, Kevin Best, and everybody over there. Looking at the preseason, I believe the majority of the media picked Syracuse to be 11 of 17. I did not. I had Syracuse in the top 10. I didn't have them as high as they were. I think I had them at 7 or 8. I think it was 8. And they ended up finishing 5th. So when you look at 17 teams and Syracuse is in the top 5 at the end of the season and tied there in the conference 5-3 with Duke of that record. And then above them is SMU, who went undefeated in the regular season in the conference. You look at Clemson, who has been a powerhouse and the only representative in the college football playoff up to this point for the ACC and has won multiple. And then you have Miami in their storied history. Those are the only teams that were above Syracuse and Duke, who were tied at 5-3. The finish that Syracuse had means what for this program?
It means everything. I think it's, when you look at the season and reflect on it, yeah, you would have not have liked to lose, a couple of games that we did. But thankful for what we have. And, we had that opportunity against Miami. And I said to myself all year when I watched this play, we have yet to put together a complete game.
Yeah.
Sometimes the offense, sometimes the defense, sometimes this, sometimes that, special teams, up, down, left, right, whatever. And at the end of the game, at the end of the season, you have this great opportunity where the world's watching, and college football world's watching Syracuse versus Miami, and the impact that game was going to have in the playoffs. And I don't think we ever thought at the beginning of the season that was going to be the case. And at least for us to have an impact on all of college football. So everyone's watching, and we had that moment. And at that moment, we played our most complete game. We stepped up when we needed to. And we won that game, obviously. And we fought hard. I mean, at the beginning of the game, you're thinking 21-0. Okay, this is go left really quick. But to this team's credit and Fran's credit and his coaching staff, they just kept at it. And there was the sentiment of what you saw all season. It's just keep at it. Just keep going. We're not going to give up. We're not going to change what we're doing in terms of who we are. But you've got to make in-game adjustments. To have a 93 season to finish at the top of the ACC, really speaks volumes to what this coaching staff can do with good players.
Yeah.
Obviously, now portal has changed all that. And you get a dynamic recruiter, which Fran is, good players can make a good coach. He's gone out and got good players, hired a good coaching staff. And it all seemed to come together at the right time. And we look forward to playing, coming down to San Diego and continuing that, and showcasing what this coaching staff and these players can do and build for the next season.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, Syracuse is going to have people looking at them going into this upcoming season. That's already going to start now. People will be watching Syracuse very closely, and the schedule is difficult. I mean, Syracuse this year did not have to play SMU, did not have to play Clemson. There's going to be games that are going to be challenging the Orange as they step forward. They're going to be playing Notre Dame next season as well. So a lot of good games coming up. But we look at the game that's right now. I'm going to give you my bone to pick, and this is my bone to pick with the game, okay? And it's something that's happened to other teams before that were ranked higher, and so I think that this is a more than reasonable bone to pick. The DirecTV Holiday Bowl puts Syracuse against Washington State. Washington State is on the West Coast. Washington State, for all intents and purposes, gets a home game. They're 8-4. They're in the Pac-12, which this season exists, but didn't really, but it'll be back. So they're in a conference that has two teams, them and Oregon State. They're 8-4. They're unranked. They're not in the college football playoff rankings at all. They didn't sniff any of those rankings. Syracuse is 21 in the college football playoff rankings. They're in the AP. They're in the coaches poll. Why is Syracuse as a better team playing a road game? That's my question.
Obviously, it's one of those things where, I think if the ACC would have shaped out differently, if the college football committee would have put Miami in along with SMU and obviously Clemson because they won, then we're in a different ball game. ACC obviously has slots where their ranked teams go to each bowl game, and that's just where we land. At the end of the day, I think as a player, I'm speaking as a player right now. I don't care who I play. I don't care where I play. If I get a game, I'm getting prepared. I'm going to go play the game to win the game. All the other things as a player, you cannot control. So you don't worry about it. If I can't control it, don't worry about it. What I can control is my preparation for what I have coming up next.
Yeah.
And what they have coming up next is an opportunity to be 10-3. That is a great opportunity. Yeah, they have a shorter way to travel. No, they're not ranked. But they're a football team. They're 8-4. We're 9-3. It's one game difference. So go out there, play the game, win the game, and set your teammates up and yourself up for success for the next season. Because what's happening is you got to finish strong so that you can get the next wave of players and keep that momentum going.
Yeah.
So that number one, your fans who come to see you, your donors who want to support you, they want to see a winner. They got to see that you're going to compete no matter what. But more importantly, as a player, you need to perform so that you keep the momentum going. Because as we just noted, next season the competition's stiff.
Yeah.
You win in that season, you're going to be ranked. You're going to compete for that international playoff system because your strength of schedule is so strong. So you cannot lose that momentum. You got to go out there and just go ahead and capitalize on the opportunity. I agree with you. Yeah, I'm not a fan of it, but it is what it is, and you or I can't control it. I'm going to go down, enjoy San Diego, as I hope you will, and you'll enjoy the opportunity to be around your Orange family one last time for football and enjoy the experience that San Diego has. And that's what I'm going to do. So I hear you, but I can't control it. So I
had a double reaction. I was like, West Coast, really? And then I was like, well, I got a friend out in San Diego. I had a few friends out in San Diego, and I was like, they've been asking me to come out for a while, and I only hear good things. So I said to my dad, I was like, I'm really excited that it's San Diego, and I'm sad that it's wet, that it's so far away for people to get to, and it's right after Christmas and whatnot. So, I mean, there's definitely that like back and forth, but I'm excited that it's San Diego. And like you said, we can't control it. I look forward to what's to come. You talked about building momentum. Here's my thing to you, Jason. How do you build momentum from this season to next season when Kyle McCord will not be your quarterback, when guys will be going to the NFL, when guys are already in the transfer portal, and we live in this NIL transfer portal world? So how do you keep momentum in a world where teams are constantly changing? And as you saw this year, UNLV, before they played Syracuse, was 4-0, and their quarterback quit. He said,
Yeah.
"I'm leaving." I mean, it's a very, and he redshirted himself, which I don't think legally you can do. I don't think that you thought you could redshirt yourself when you played at Syracuse, but just bring me into that. How do we keep momentum from one season to the next in a world where Fran Brown's looking around and maybe there's 20 guys that are gone, maybe there's 5, maybe there's one guy that's gone, but it's Kyle McCord, and so now he's got to go to the portal and try and find another guy that he can build with and keep the momentum with, and then also keep his guys that, you know, are backups that have been on the team. How do we keep momentum in this world that we live in?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. And I had this conversation with someone a couple of weeks ago. And realistically, coaches now have to, the most important thing to me is the quality in the coach, is how quickly can I take these, you know, various players from various different experiences that, hey, I got this kid for 1 year. Hey, this bunch of kids are leaving. These are coming. You don't know who's coming or going, you
Yeah.
know, but one thing a coach must do is find a way, how quickly can I take what I have and make them the tightest knit team that I can. You know, they have to care for each other and they have to care for the purpose of the program.
Yeah.
You know, it becomes individualized when I'm worried about my NIL money. It becomes individualized when I'm not happy I can leave and not sit out. You know, you're watching a football game and the guy's been in 7 different places, 6 different, you know, it's kind of like, where's your allegiance? And when you're dealing with, you know, kids, I'm going to say, that's like that, it's the coach's job. Number one, how quickly can I make them a team? How can I take these gang of individuals and make them one? And so you take who you have, and number one, it starts with, you know, really being a great recruiter, and that's what Fran is. He's a great recruiter. Kids believe in him, parents believe in him, and then us as alumni and supporters of the program, we play a large role in that because of the NIL. You know, the coach has got to go out there and know that he's going to have to be able to deliver on this promise of NIL.
Yeah.
So the owners and supporters, that comes first. You know, coaches got to know when I walk out my door, I got X, and I'm going to work with whomever to make sure that we have the best team. I guess now these teams have GMs, coaches have agents. I mean, it is a completely different world. So for me, it's like, how do you keep the momentum? You recruit who you can recruit. You get the best players that you can get. You recruit the best donors. You recruit the best alumni to help you out. You put it all together and you make the best team as quickly as possible. How can we come together? How can we band together as brothers in less than a year, with every single year your team being new? That is a different dynamic. When I knew before, yeah, I know I got this kid for 3 years at minimum. Now you may have him for 9 months. And that makes the mark of a good coach now. It's how quickly can I get them to come together? And obviously, Frank has done a phenomenal job in his first year of taking what he has, building and recruiting right, and recruiting the right way, you know, and then executing a plan and being clear on that plan and everyone rowing in the right direction so that you can have a level of success. And obviously, that's panned out well for him this year. And then next year, you flip it and you do it all over again, because as kids leave, you know, you're going to have kids who are watching Syracuse and go, you know what? I want to be back closer to home. I love what they're doing over there. And you're going to be able to take, pardon me, I was getting a phone call, but you're going to be able to take what you have. And the beauty of it is, if you get the right kids who really want to be where they're at, you're going to be able to coach them. They're going to be coachable kids. Now, do they have the talent, and can you motivate them? Can they motivate each other to be the best team that they can be? So there's a lot you can do. It's just different in how you do it now.
Yeah, and I mean, it all comes down to people, right? That's what a business is made up of. It's, you either got good people in the building or you don't have so much good people in the building, and that changes the culture. And good culture is gonna breed more good culture and gonna help each other. And if you got those viruses in there, then I've been in locker rooms. I've been in NFL locker rooms with a lot of talent, but there was a few viruses in that locker room, and it ended up breaking the team up. So you got to make sure that talent is not the top thing. It's culture. And then you go after the talent. And, he's a man of God, and he has a strong faith, and him and I bond on those things and that morality. And I do appreciate my time with Mr. Fran Brown. So before I let you go, I got to say this. There's two things I got to say. One of them is something that I'm going to make a request of Jason Poles, but he doesn't know this yet. But before I say that, I'm going to say this. Not a lot of people in the history of football can say at the collegiate and or professional level that they have not only gotten interception, but returned it for a touchdown. And I just want to give you a shout out that back in your Big East days, you got a few interceptions and you returned one to the house almost 100 yards. So I just wanted to remind everybody of that in the 90s.
I appreciate that. That was a lot of fun. I mean, we were winning back then. It was, to be a part of that success and have a memorable moment. And it's great. We had a great time. So winning solves a lot of things, and we won a lot. So we had a lot of good character in the room, but winning solves a lot of things.
And my final thing is a request. When I come out to San Diego, by the grace of God, will you and I get to spend some FaceTime together? Can we work something out?
Absolutely. You have my cell phone. You know how to find me. And like I said, I live an hour and a half away, so I'll be down there. I'm waiting for the full schedule to come out, schedule of events, so I can take a look at when and where I'll be. Definitely give me a shout.
You heard it here first. I'm staying in Jason Poles' pool house. With that being said, Jason Poles here, Syracuse Orange DB alum, current SU Director of Advancement in the Southwest region. Go out and see him in California as well as Vegas and Arizona, and support Syracuse all around the country and the world. Jason, as always, it is my honor and my privilege to not only have you here on the show today, but to consider you and call you a friend is truly a great part of my life. So I want to say thank you for our bond above everything. And I can finally say this, God willing, I will see you very soon.
I enjoy it. Thanks, Dan. Appreciate your friendship and what you do for the Orange Nation, brother.
Anytime. I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
See you. That coming from Jason Poles here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We're going to take a step aside for a fast break. We'll be back right after this on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Stay with us. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
All right, you need to come out here and get yourself the Brooklyn Pickle. I was talking about this with one of my buddies. I was like, yo, there's no better sandwich in the state of New York than the Brooklyn Pickle. And now that I found out that they're going down to North Carolina, we are taking over your taste buds everywhere you are, wherever you're gonna be. You need to get yourself out to the Brooklyn Pickle. Pinehurst, you just realized that you found yourself the best sandwich shop that you're ever gonna have. This is a glorious moment. It's a blessing to your community. You're welcome. Brooklyn in the house, baby. Go over to the Brooklyn Pickle. You already know what it is.
You heard the man. Head to Brooklyn Pickle Pinehurst on 1788 Old Morgantown Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina. And And welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. I'm honored and privileged to be here with you every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and I have the privilege here to be with a friend of mine, and it's been a minute. This is somebody who I appreciate very much so, appreciate him, appreciate his family, and I go back to when we had an opportunity to do a show together in the community out in the Camillus area a few years ago. And I was not only with Prince-Tyson Gulley, but I was also with his family. And he's got a big family, bunch of support, and they show up. We came to do the show, and I look at the booth, and they're in one booth. They're not in two. They're in one booth where like there's enough space for like 5 people. They're all crammed in that booth all together. And I was like, being around them, seeing them interact with each other, and be just all in the same booth together, I was like, man, these people really love being together. They really love being around each other, and the Gulley family really has tight ties. So with that being said, Tonio's been on the show before, and I had the opportunity to speak with him from the Navy when he was a running back for the midshipmen, and now here with PTG, Prince-Tyson Gulley. He has been on the show many times here on Wake Up Call, and like I said, bigger than anything else that he's done on the field, in my opinion, I'm more than grateful to call him a friend. So with that being said, Prince, how we doing?
I'm doing great. How are you? It's good to see you.
Good to see you too. And Prince, I mean, it is, like I said, it's been a minute, and there's a bunch of things that have been going on and whatnot. I do want to first and foremost, and I know I said it off the air, but speaking about your family, I know that you've had some return to heaven here recently, and I just want to give you and your family the best as like I said, being around them for 5 minutes, it was contagious, the love and the connection that you all have. So I just want to give my best to you and your angels that are up in heaven.
I appreciate you. It was a rough year for us this year. Like I said, I appreciate you.
Yeah, so happy to have you here. Happy to have a former running back here and a guy who was very well known. I mean, I didn't know anything, and Prince, I'm going to say this, you're probably going to laugh when I say it, but I didn't know anything about the check down until Ryan Nassib had Prince-Tyson Gulley. So there's something about the check down and you just being that guy, come out of the backfield, sneak around the offensive line, and then just turn quick and be waiting there for it. And Ryan was so good about finding you. You were so good about catching the ball, and you made a lot of hay doing that. So bring me into the check down, because it's a popular thing now and it grew over the years. But to me, you were checking down the check down before the check down.
Yeah, it's always been a part of the game. But it's we're speaking about Ryan Nassib. It's him going through his reads, and depending on if any of the reads are open, the check down is always there. And I was always that guy because I was the third down back, so I would be there for the check down. And we did a lot of good things. I mean, as far as Antoine Bailey before me, he was that guy. He was another check down guy. So I learned from them, and then it just began to be a thing for us, something that we can always go to what we're doing with the offense. So,
yeah, I felt like even though the check down, like you said, has always been a part of the game, it just seemed like Syracuse really honed in on it with Ryan Nassib, with that offense. Like you said, Antoine Bailey, with yourself. In the NFL and in college to pro in general, it's incredibly important that a running back doesn't just run, but that they catch the ball and that they can block. How did you, like you said, I'm the third down back, like that was my job to be out there. How did you materialize into reality who you were going to be on that team? Because they had Jerome Smith, they had Adonis Amin Moore, they had the guys that were going to run between the tackles and and go right to the middle of the line. And then they had you, who sometimes is going to, go in between the tackles, but you're going to bounce outside. You're going to get the ball pitched to you. You're going to have those check downs. Is that something that you always kind of thought of yourself as, or did you materialize into that at Syracuse and say, okay, if I want to be on the field, I'm going to add some more elements to my game?
it's funny that you say that, because I was literally just talking to one of my friends about that, and he was just mentioning that how you have to know how to find your role when you're on a team. So I came from a different type of offense from my high schools, basically a T formation. So we were downhill running back. So really, all I had was to truly know how to run. Let's throw a couple of passes every now and then. But when I got to Syracuse, it was you have to figure out how to get yourself on the field. And I wasn't the biggest back, but I wasn't scared to go in between the tackles or anything like that. But they figured that the best set for us, because we ran a 2-back, 3-back system. So the best thing was we had a bigger guy who would run through the tackles. And then we had me who can kind of do both as far as receiving. And that's really what it was. I just accepted my role, and it ended up being something that allowed me to better myself in the game, because that third down back is important. If you can't block on third down, if you can't protect on third down, then you won't be on the field. So it elevated a whole nother part of my game, because in my mind I always felt like I was a good runner, but far as a pass protector and then being able to catch out of the backfield, which I knew I could catch. But it wasn't until I got to Syracuse, Will, they helped me get better in all three of those phases. So I feel like I became a complete running back with Syracuse. Yeah.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, having the team that you had and you being able to do different things and to develop and, like you said, become a complete running back. I just had Adonis Amin Moore on the broadcast. When Jerome Smith finished up his time and went off to the NFL, Adonis, to me, it was like, okay, so Adonis is there now and Prince is still there. So Prince had Jerome, now Prince has Adonis, and this is going to be a 1-2 punch. I think the statute of limitations is over. The coaching staff has changed. Should Adonis have gotten the ball more, and should there have been a 1-2 punch with you and him like there was with you and Jerome? Do you feel like there should have been more play for Adonis as a wrecking ball, and there should have been more of you guys together?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But I'm not sure what he's talked to you about or everything. There was a lot of things that, went into play when it comes to all of that. But absolutely, just to answer the question, absolutely. I felt like that was going to be a great situation for us going into that year. Adonis, man, I wish we got a little bit more out of him, because he left some stuff on the field, in my opinion. I think he knows it too. He knows it too, because I don't think people really got to see how great he was. And we got to see it every day. But he never really got to put that out there and show him. Talk about he was one of the best backs that I've seen, just off of his size, off of his feet, what he was able to do, man. That's my brother, man. I love him, man. It is what it is at this point now, man. But I wish we could have really did that the way that we talked about how we wanted to do it. Because he was nice. He was nice.
Well, and he did talk about it very, openly with me, because as I have a friendship with you, I got a friendship with Adonis as well. And, we spoke about the fact of, unfortunately you guys were part of a coaching change and a shift. And when new coaches come in, you're not their guy, right? Tyrone Wheatley leaves and DeAndre Smith comes in. A good relationship with both of those guys, but they come in and they see you, they see Adonis. We didn't recruit these guys. If these guys play really, and I'm not saying this is their mentality, but some coaches might think if these guys play really well, I don't get the credit. If I bring in my own guys, then I get the credit for this. So it seemed like from what Adonis had said is that he kind of knew the writing was on the wall of like, no matter what I do, I'm just not their guy. And so that was the conversation. But I bring it up not to knock any of the coaching staff, because I love them. I bring it up because I personally wanted to see it. And I saw value in Adonis, and I had already seen what you could do. And I just felt like it made all too much sense. Adonis being the guy to carry the ball at the end of the game, to run the clock out, the wrecking ball on the goal line, the decoy guy, and the guy who's going to be with you, and you have your element, he has his element. I just feel like Syracuse's offense would have, you could have literally ran teams out of games, and we just didn't see it happen. So I'm doing this as kind of a passion project, but I just want the world to know that I think we missed something.
Listen, I agree. And, when we do talk, we talk about that, but he knows. And at the end of the day, we got our degrees out of the situation, man. We had a great experience up there, and just what you said, like that's a part of it, and it doesn't. You don't understand that until you leave Syracuse about what exactly and how an organization truly works. Because we were part of a change. If I think about it all the time. The time when Marone and everyone left, that I should have went with them. I should have left with them, but, I wasn't thinking like that. I was sold. I was loyal to Syracuse, and I loved the second coaching staff. They were great. Don't get me wrong, but you said it right on there. That's how it goes. No matter what, that's just the truth about it. If you're not their guy, you're not their guy. Now, we were able to prove that we were worthy of still being in those positions. But it's just like anything, they're going to bring in their guys because that's a whole thing. Like, oh yeah, I recruited that kid. I hear that's part of their selling point. Yeah, I used to recruit that kid. I recruited that guy. I'm the one that got him there. I'm the one. That's what they say. That's what they do as coaching. So they want to be the guy that, hey, yeah, that was me that brought that guy in, and he's the one that's in the league right now doing it good. I seen it. You know what I mean? That's how they look at things. So, like I said, it takes you a minute because we're young. We're 18, 21, 22 in college. We don't really understand, the organization. And that brings it up to how it's actually going now. Now it's kind of a fair suit when it comes to like, okay, oh yeah, my coaches is gone. I'm hopping in the portal because I'm not about to play and sit around with another coach to think that he's going to play with me because he want to bring in one of his guys that he coached or he recruited. So it kind of bring a little bit of balance to it, but in there, it kind of scratched away from, our team unity. Because I went to, 4 years, I did 5 years. 5 years of brothers, though. Now you got people coming in, just 1 year here, 2 year here. Now it's getting more like a business aspect, like NFL, kind of. You know what I mean? And that's another deal. So, yeah.
Yeah. No, I definitely can appreciate where you're coming from, and like you said, the two different schools of thought with the transfer portal of, now I can leave when my coach leaves because I'm not trying to sit around and have a coach say I didn't recruit that guy and I can't take credit for him. But then it also destroys the brotherhood on the other side of it as well. So hindsight 2020, you personally, you said I should have left with Marone. He went to the Buffalo Bills, so you said when he left, you would have gone to another college, done your own thing. So if the transfer portal existed when you played, when Marone said, I'm out, if that happened and the portal was available to you and there was no sitting out and there was no restrictions and Marone couldn't tell you where you couldn't go and Shafe couldn't tell you where you couldn't go, would you have transferred?
No, I would have ended my whole career as a Syracuse Orange. I would have did 3 years. I was eligible to go to the NFL at that time. So the reason, what I'm saying is that I would have left with him.
Oh, and go. Okay.
Yeah, I would have tried to be like, hey, listen, Coach Marone, you gone. I need you to utilize all your resources to get me somewhere somehow. You ain't got to pick me up at Buffalo. You just let them know. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, the offenses that we were running, the terminology that we were using, were all suited for NFL. Because even when I got to Buffalo and was learning their playbook, I already knew everything. I knew it all. So it was just like, just sitting back thinking about it like, wow, right after that Pinstripe Bowl, he tells us he's gone. I had a great game. Let's just try to take it. Let's see what I can do with it. You know what I mean? Like, because what they don't tell us is that we can always come back and get our degrees, but you really only get one shot to the NFL. And once that's done, it's done because it's a revolving cycle. They get new ones every year. So you know how I go. But life lesson. I know if I ever have a child or a son one day or something like that, I know that I'm gonna be in his corner and making those type of decisions because, like, I'm not gonna say that I didn't have anybody to make decisions. They just didn't know. I was one of the first generation college kids to go. So my parents didn't truly have the knowledge of how to maneuver in that type of world. So I was learning everything on the go. But now that I do know, it's just, I know some things that I would do different, but that's how it goes. That's life. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, you had the opportunity to get out into the NFL. I mean, let people know that. I know you have had connections with different things and, trying to do some things when you came out of Syracuse to move on and move forward professionally. Just what your journey was like with that. Because I talked to so many guys that have been through it and I've seen it and it's strange. And I still vividly remember to this day when Hard Knocks was on television with the Falcons and they showed Jerome Smith getting cut from the team. And that's still like, I was like, I don't know how Jerome felt in that moment because I personally being, building friendships with you guys and considering a lot of you guys brothers myself, I felt it in my heart when that happened. So what was your journey like and just what you can share about that because you do have talent. You did bring a lot to the table. And I've talked to backs where it's like they had all these great things and they had the yardage and they had the health and they had all these things in their favor. And this team brought him in and held on to him too long. And then they needed a punter and they let him go. And then nobody needed a running back at that point. And it was just kind of like moving these chess pieces around. And sometimes it has nothing to do with talent. It has to do with like, I know this guy or they need this at this point. So there's the business side of it. And I'd love to get your thoughts on your experience with the NFL.
Well, that's exactly what it was. It just came down to the business side of it. I took the Buffalo visit in my mind, having partially some of my staff there from Syracuse, thinking that would help out. But once again, it's a learning thing. That's not how it worked. They didn't have too much say-so on a lot of that stuff. It's about what they needed. They just when I was coming in, they had just drafted a running back, and then that was the year LaShawn McCoy was coming in for Buffalo Bills. So they were pretty much stacked at running back. So, not even thinking about all of that, realizing I'm just, depending on like, hey, I know that I'm capable of playing. They'll see that. But sometimes it just didn't work. It didn't work like that. And that was really the only shot I had. I tried out some Canadian football leagues, didn't get picked up. It was rough. I can remember just sitting in the office in Buffalo, and I forgot the coach's name. I don't think he's a head coach now, or he was a head coach. But he just told me, just like, hey, we appreciate you for coming out, and we're going to move forward. So it was very transparent. It was very upfront. But they just let me know that they didn't have a spot for me. And they weren't going to bring me back. And it was a hard pill to swallow because it's just like, well, what did I do? What did I not do? But at the end of the day, it didn't even come down to that. They had what they had, you know what I mean? And sometimes it does come about who you know, and I feel like, Syracuse, we have people that are vouching for us within the league that want to see Syracuse do well. I will say that. But at the end of the day, they don't have that much power. It still got to come down to you testing results, them actually having a need for you on the team. And it was tough, man. I look back at it, maybe I could have did this, maybe I could have did that, but like as I grow, I just think that the journey that I was put on was perfect. I got to where I needed to get to. Some people don't even get that far, you know what I mean? And I'm thankful for everything that I've learned. I've met a lot of people, great people along the way. The knowledge that I've gained from just around the people of the sport, and just the professionalism, just the good people, like I said, good people, and it just helped me along the way throughout my life. So I was in a bad place for a moment, but then when you just put everything in perspective, man, it's been a hell of a ride, and I'm thankful. I'm thankful. I'm grateful, and where I'm at today, I'm still using stuff that I've learned from when I was at Syracuse.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. And, Prince, I think, we all go through stuff. And the unfortunate thing for people that are in the entertainment and sports industry, and you and I are both in that in our own respect, is that we do things publicly. So if something doesn't work out, if we don't get this, if this doesn't go here, then it's in the public. Somebody gets fired from a job where they have a cubicle, the people in the office know. Nobody else knows. And so, I mean, it is a really difficult thing. And people say, well, there's so much money in it, and there's free tuition, and there's this and that. And in my case, as a broadcaster, you get to travel the world, you get to speak for a living, you get to do what all these fans want to do. They don't see the other side of it, of like everything I have to do as a business owner, all the things I have to do behind the scenes to run every broadcast. They don't see all the wear and tear that you have to put on your body and going to school, as well as being an athlete, and how that's 2 full-time jobs, and how you didn't have a lot of money back then because there wasn't NIL back then, and all this stuff that was going on. I mean, like, they see the glitz and the glamour, but they don't see the blood, the sweat, and the tears. And the older we get and the more social media advances itself, or kind of not advances, but almost rescinds and goes backward, is that, you know, the more technology we get, the less we see of the journey and the ride and the, you know, everybody on Instagram has a beautiful life. Everybody on Instagram is you know, the right shape, got the right muscles, is the right weight, has the right hair, has the right house, has the right car. But the reality of it all is, you know, that's not what life is. Life is the blood, sweat, and tears. Life is all of the moments where you and I talked off the air, when you and I discussed things that had nothing to do with football. And, you know, you saw me through tough times. And, you know, I've talked to you, and there's been moments where you've been going through stuff. And I just feel like we need to talk more about that. And the world needs to see more of that side of it, that it's not as simple as, well, they were cut, well, they got the job, well, they made millions, well, they got that, well, they get to travel. It's not all that. I mean, what it is it's work. What it is it's time, it's prayer, it's God. It's a lot of the time, for me personally, I literally felt like it was God and I in the trenches, and there was nobody else there but us. And I know that you can feel that because you've lived it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it was so much. And just like I said, if we flip your perspective on things, like, you know, it's a learning journey. Like, you're learning. There's so much that I didn't know. Like, coming out, I moved 6 hours away. I'm an Ohio kid. Like, I moved to New York, upstate New York. Know nothing about it. You know, nothing about it. I'm trying to learn different things. I'm trying to build myself. Like, who am I? You know, it was a lot of growth happening. It was a lot of obviously, remember, I got stabbed. It's so much things along the journey that just kept me going. And I just made a comment. It's just like, it's really your job to determine what you will and what you won't let happen to you ever again. You know what I mean? Like, it's a lot of things that I've been through that I won't lie, I put myself in that position. But it was also a position that I was able to get out of and also learn from. And I mean, that's what I instill in what I do now, with just being around the youth. You know, I'm always that guy that listen, I'm going to tell you the real. We're going to have those hard conversations. My brother says knee to knee conversations. That's what he said. We're going to talk knee to knee. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to give you the true experience about the people that do make it and the people that don't make it. I'm one of the people that didn't make it as far as I wanted to, but I'm going to tell you how and why along the journey that I believe are the reasons that help, you know, or kind of hindered me from getting to where I needed to be. Because it was a lot. I didn't walk a fine line. You know, I did the best I could with what I know, but I didn't walk a fine line. And it's still a lot of work that I'm doing on myself daily, getting things in order in my life, trying to, you know, take away old behavior, because I do know better. You know what I mean? And I learned a lot of things, the right things to do, you know what I'm saying? But sometimes you kind of fall back, but you just got to remember what you've been taught, what you learned. Remember your faith in God. Remember your faith in God. I went to church last week. My pastor said, remember who you belong to. That was his message. Remember who you belong to. You belong to God. Never forget that. And all your trials and tribulations, all your struggles, anything that you're going to, remember who you belong to. That's going to stick with me for me. That was a great message last week. So, yeah, just remember who you belong to.
Yeah. No, and I love that. And it says a lot. You know, remember who you belong to, because this world tries to kind of just, you know, take ownership of you. And I tell people all the time, like, no one drives your car unless you gave them the keys and let them sit in the seat. You know what I mean? People, well, this person said this about me and this person didn't do this. And I asked this person out and they said no. And I wanted this job and they said no. And I wanted this house and it didn't happen. And so all these people, and I'm like, you give them the keys. Don't give them the keys. Yeah, it didn't work out, but it's like, I said it yesterday on the show, a dead end is a dead end. And it looks the same every time you drive down it. There's nothing that they're going to build beyond that dead end. So you keep driving down the dead end, you keep looking at it, you're either going to drive to the sign and stare at the sign, or you're going to drive off the cliff, but there's nothing good that can come from a dead end, from a road that's done. That relationship is done, that job is done, that friendship is done, whatever it may be. When it's done, it's done. Because people ask me that. They said, why do you cut off dead ends? Why do you, when you break up with someone and it wasn't healthy, why do you delete the number, block the number, move on? Why, when friendships are not, fruitful for you and somebody's not really treating you the way you treat them, why do you just cut it off? Why do you do that in business? How can you cut it off? And I tell people, you think I'm some ruthless dictator, I'm just taking the dead ends out of my road. Because I need my road to be clear. I need my road to be cleaned. I don't need my road to be full of all this stuff. God has tasked me with building roads. He has never let me go down a road that was paved and done and beautiful. He has tasked me with, this is a forest, you're going to make it a street. And while I'm working on those streets, some of those streets, when I'm building them and there's dead ends that come up on those streets, I'm cleaning that out of my road. I'd rather build another lane on my road and help somebody else be on my road than have a dead end connected to my road. So, there's a lot of things about life that I've learned and I know you've learned, and there's so many moments that I can appreciate. And I know I've asked you to come on the show over the last few years, and like you said, you've been going through your journey and whatnot, but I want to say this to you publicly, the same thing I would say to you privately. I was never going to stop reaching out, because I know we all have our journey in our life, but I've always felt connected and bonded with you, and I always appreciate you because we have conversations that make me feel like I get closer to God. So I want to say, in your toughest moments, that I just want you to know that you're someone that I would always reach out to, because our connection and our bond and our friendship is important to me.
I appreciate that. And it's funny because I was thinking about that yesterday when I said, I was just like, man, because you already know, with reaching out, kind of moving around or whatever, no excuses. It is what it is. You're going through what you're going through. But I do appreciate you for being consistent with me. And yes, you're right, man. Our relationship is great, man. I do believe we have a bond from my freshman year all the way up until now. You know what I mean? So I'm thankful for you because this show has been great for me too. Like, I have memories from this show. I can still go watch old memories and see how I was talking then and how I am now. It's a complete difference. But at the end of the day, man, I appreciate you. I do.
Well, the feeling is mutual. And I very much am grateful to God that we have crossed paths by no mistake. Before we get into rapid fire and get to put each other on the hot seat for a couple minutes here, I want to get into the 2024-25 season. Fran Brown, and what you think about Syracuse. 9-3, Fran's doing his thing. Kyle McCord's the number one quarterback in the country in passing yards. He passed Ryan Nassib in single-season passing touchdowns. He passed Ryan Nassib in single-season yards as a quarterback passing. And then LaQuint Allen became the leader in Syracuse history for career receptions out of the backfield for a running back, passing Antoine Bailey, who you mentioned earlier. So I'd love to get your thoughts on the team this season.
I love what we're doing. Shout out to Coach Brown. Shout out to Camden. Shout out to everything that he's doing for us, man. This is what we needed. And I've said this, of course we had a couple coaches before, but I pray that this is his calling to be here for us, because Syracuse can be a perennial program. We have the ability to do so, and we're showing it. Syracuse is a good time, a great experience. I've heard multiple people that came before me told me about stories that they've had at Syracuse, because it's a great place to be, and it is. I'm so happy with what Syracuse is doing. And I want to tell them, if they see this, hey, listen, I got to get up there, because I bleed orange for real. I bleed orange for real, blood, sweat, and tears for real, because we've been through a lot. Remember, I was part of the team that came in when we were the worst team in the nation. I was that freshman class the year before. We were voted the worst team in the nation, and we were part of that turnaround. So this is who we are, right? What we're doing right now, this is who we are. All right, I don't care what no one else has to say about it. This is who we are. We are capable of being top tier. We're ranked now. We should be. You know what I mean? We should be. We don't lose bowl games. So when we going into this bowl game, we ain't gonna we don't lose bowl games. I think we lost one, and just so I would say in the range of like since I've been, well, probably one, but we don't lose bowl games. I'm extremely proud of what he's bringing to bringing to the campus, bringing to the kids. I hope it keeps going, man. And I gotta make it up there, man. I respect everything he's doing. I gotta meet him. I want to meet the staff, meet the family, meet everybody. I'm a part, and you know what? I love that they are trying to engage with previous alumni. We struggled with that in the past. If we struggle with that in the past, they're open to bringing back alumni, being a part of it, because we want to. You see what I got on right now. This is manly official. I still wear this. You know what I mean? And I'm Ohio guy to the fullest. But I know where I play. You know what I mean? And just long and short, I'm happy where we're at right now, and I want to continue this success. Can't wait till next year. Let's continue. But I got to make it up there to see everybody, and meet everybody.
You got a running back catching the ball in the backfield. He's got dreads too. So, and LaQuint Allen. So,
man, see, he number one, Antoine Bailey number two, I'm number three. So, shout out to him. Listen, it's all love, and that's always all. In the backfield, running backs, it's always been all love, man. We support each other, man. I love what he's doing, man. Keep going, man. Keep going. Hey, we gonna be a force to reckon with from years to come, and that's what I want to see. We got orange pride, like it's real pride out here. Like we want to be great because we know we can be great. We've done it. You know what I mean? We won the Big East. Like we done it. You know what I mean? We've done it. First year in the ACC, we came in, did our thing, won a bowl game. Like we're capable of playing on any level that you want to put us on. We are. We can do it, and I just want us to continue it, man. I'm happy. Shout out to Fran Brown again, man. Coach Fran Brown.
74 receptions, career. Prince-Tyson Gulley had a season back in 2012 where he had over 1,000 yards from scrimmage, 1,112, 830 were on the ground. He finished his time over 5 seasons at Syracuse, averaging over 5 yards a carry, had over 2,000 yards rushing in his career, 2,069, and overall all-purpose from scrimmage, 2,551 yards. So he's part of the 2,500-yard club. With that being said, let's jump into some rapid fire. And what do you got for me? What's your question, Prince?
Let's see. Well, at this point, does it have to be sports related?
No.
Well, at this point right now, what are you listening to musical wise?
Oh man, that's good. So I've been listening to. I'm all over the place, but I've been listening to Phil Collins. Who I love. I've been listening to Norah Jones. I've been listening to. I went back to my Black Panther soundtrack because I got the vinyl. When Chadwick Boseman passed away, they said the sales went up, and not the vinyl sales, the sales overall went up on that album 200%. And it was 2 years after I had bought the album, and I was like, where was everybody for the last couple of years with Kendrick Lamar there's Run the Jewels is on that as well. So I would say I'm back to the Black Panther album. I'm back. So, because I love the song X, 10, the Roman numeral for Kendrick Lamar. So I've been listening to Kendrick Lamar, Norah Jones, Phil Collins. Oh, man. I've been listening. I know you're probably going to laugh when I say this, but I don't know why. I never thought that I would, but I really like the messages in their music. And I definitely like the message about having a kid and like seeing that kid grow up, which is a song called Little Bird by the Jonas Brothers. That showed up on it. So I'm kind of all over the place, but I've been getting in my feelings. So I've been in that like Norah Jones, Sarah Bareilles, Phil Collins,
With
you know,
it.
that type
And,
of stuff.
that's good though. So them Phil Collins songs and Nora Jones, you got to send them to me because I be looking for songs to sample. I'll take a little parts of them. You know what I mean? It'd be good. You could find some good stuff. You know, that's what I'll be doing.
Yeah, there's a song. Yeah, there's a song that Phil Collins in his No Jacket Required, which is one of the greatest albums of all time of anybody. And there's a song on there that I didn't discover until a couple of years ago. The song came out in 1985. I was born in 1985. The song is Why Doesn't Anybody Stay Together Anymore? He wrote that song in 1985, and it speaks to relationships in today's America so well that it feels like he wrote it literally today.
Thank you. I'll go get that. I'll listen. I'll go listen. Thank you.
That's what I'm saying. Some of these people are, God had them send a message that was timeless and that like people were going to find 30 years later, 40 years later, whatever it may be, and like link up to it and be like, wow, like this thing is real right now. Like he wrote it in 85, it's 2024, and I'm sitting here going, as a single man in society, that song, I need everybody to go and listen to. Why doesn't anybody stay together anymore? So with that being said, my question back to you, Prince, is if you could be on a track with anybody, who would you work with musically?
Ooh. Dang. God. Well, like from an artist standpoint or working with a producer?
Whatever you want.
I only gotta pick one?
You can pick whatever you want. However
Man,
many you want.
I want to work with all the legends. I want to work with Pharrell. I want to work with Timbaland. I want to work with Missy Elliott. Black Child or Dark Child. What was that? I'm gonna just stick with the three right there: Timbaland, Pharrell, and Missy Elliott. I don't know, for some reason I would be able to get inside that. Oh, and Dr. Dre, and come up with a sound inside of that sound. Them are the people that I work, because at this point right now, I'm still doing music. I'm writing. I'm more writing now, and trying to be on the producing side of things. Now I'm not. I can't make beats, but I got a person that I work with that does all of this stuff, that makes the beats. So I come in with the concept and the words. I'm like, hey, listen, man, this is what I got. You know what I mean? So I would like to work with them like that. Those are the four people. And I know I can create some like great R&B, even hip hop and R&B. That's the hip hop and R&B. But even then, like R&B, I'm really into the singing. I like the rhythm and blues. That's my thing. I'm not gonna lie, that's my thing. I love the rapping. I love rapping. I love great bars. I love great messages and everything. But there's something about vocals that, yeah, I wish God gave me my voice is alright, but I wish I can like really go.
Well, I could definitely appreciate that answer. I don't know if you know this, but I've been singing since I was 3. And I've written over 40 songs in my life.
So are you going to send me something, or are you about to sing right now?
I'm not going to do it right now.
All right. I'm just saying, to the spot, but send me something, man. Listen, I got like 10 songs right now that I sang on them.
Okay.
Most of them are all me rapping. But yeah, I didn't know that, bro. I didn't know that.
Maybe you and I need to collaborate on something.
Bro, we've been saying that, but it's on me. You still in Syracuse?
Yeah.
Okay. I gotta come through. That's all. I miss it. Hey, that really is second home for real. I gotta come through.
Yeah, you do. You definitely do. And by the way, Antoine Bailey is watching and listening right now. So shout out to Antoine Bailey. We appreciate you. What's your final question for me?
Final question.
Yes, sir.
Since we on the music tip. No. Let's answer the question about the song that you was just talking about.
Okay.
Hey, why aren't people staying together?
Why aren't people staying together? You know what? I will tell you this. So, I mean, I've always been transparent on my show. We do a relationship show, his and hers, with my co-host Andrea Smith, and it's called Two Mics No Filter. And we talk about all the hard stuff. And apparently, sometimes the thing is, when I go on a date with a woman if she does something crazy, I never mention her name. I never put her name out there, but I talk about the scenario to talk about dating. And 3 people that I took out in the last couple of years apparently were listening to the annoying moment of the week, which to me is an admission of guilt. And because I was like, you can listen to any part of my show, you listen to the annoying moment of the week, thinking you're going to be on there. Why? So, and one girl, she lost it. I never mentioned her name, never said any of that. I just kind of talked about things that I experienced, but I haven't had a girlfriend on purpose in the last 2.5 years. I've dated, but a lot of those things were kind of like, it's not, it's not there. There's not a reason. I'm not going to ask somebody to be my girlfriend and connect myself to somebody unless I really feel like it's the right thing to do, because I jumped in real quick growing up and all that stuff. So I've learned. So 2.5 years, I've spent the time going like, okay, let me see. And why doesn't anybody stay together anymore? Well, my most recent dating with somebody, she lived out of town, and we got to go on a few dates and whatnot, and things were really good. I mean, we were on the phone 3 hours at a time, 7 hours at a time, 5 hours at a time. We agreed on all the stuff that usually breaks people up. We connected on faith. We connected on money and kids and like different things that we would do in a relationship. We laughed a lot. We had a great time together. We were a part of each other's day. We met. We had fun in person. Then on the romantic side, we danced together. You kiss the girl, things are good. And so it's like you're passing all these points, but people go through relationships, and she gave the wrong guy a ton of time. And so to me, she's like, I got to know that I love you within a very short amount of, like, I got to know in 5 dates if you're going to make my heart do this. And to me, it was like, how can I do that? And then she said something. You said, why doesn't anybody stay together anymore? And she said to me, I have to fall in love with my head. I can't fall in love with my heart because my heart got me in trouble with the last guy. So now I have to fall in love with my head. Well, it's impossible to fall in love with your head. So why doesn't anybody stay together anymore? I think as we get older, especially, like, men and women are so focused on, I can't mess up and I can't do this wrong and I have to know and I can never get hurt again. And they make it such a difficult Rubik's Cube, and they don't understand that in order for you to find love in your life, you have to act like you've never been hurt before.
Okay, I see you talking. Come on now. I hear you.
You got to act like you've never been hurt before. So I'm going to flip the question back on you. Why doesn't anybody stay together anymore?
I'm thinking I'm not going to be careful. I don't care about being canceled. It don't matter to me. But at the end of the day, I just think, as far as from what I've seen and I experienced, is that, different backgrounds have a lot to do with relationship from a cultural aspect, and just a lot of people really say they know what they want, but they really don't. And maybe I'm speaking for me, but I've been on and off with a couple of situations, and what I said to you earlier is about, I'm still trying to figure out me. I'm 32, but I'm still trying to figure out, who I am in this world, who do I want to be in this world, and being that. And I don't know. You said it best too. Like, I feel like sometimes women, they want you to have it all together right now, and that's where most of my struggles come. I can't. It's some things that I got to work on. And are you willing to go through this process with me? They think it's all gonna be, they got that. What is it, that Disney mindset, thinking that it's what I mean? But that is not that. It's gonna be ups and downs.
Yep.
It's gonna be ups and downs. Now, it's some things that shouldn't be tolerated, out of a respect, point. But like, if you're really trying to rock with somebody, you really trying to be a partner to somebody, you trying to, go the distance with somebody, it's some things that you guys got to communicate and talk through. And I just don't think people will really be having those real conversations and really standing on it. it'd be like, I'd be like, I don't, such and such. I didn't like the way he did this or the way he did that. And it was a turn off for me. Boom, boom. It was just like, well, did you know why he did it? Where that's coming from? You know what I mean? That's who I am. You know, I studied the child and family psychology at Syracuse. So at this point in my life, I'm asking those hard questions immediately. And I don't think people really want to answer those. They don't really want to do the work. That's what it is. That's what I'm gonna say. I said a lot, but I really think people are struggling with doing the work in a relationship.
Yeah. And why that is, social media shows you, like I said before, that life is perfect. And life is not perfect. And you said that, you know, in our case, dating women, but men and women, they want finished products. They want you to be all set, ready to go. I would give you the opposite and say, when I've been dating women, they want a guy that they can change and mold and break apart. They don't want a guy like me who knows exactly who he is. That's what I've experienced, is they don't want a guy who's confident in who he is. They want a guy who they can adjust. And so it's just weird, because people say, I want to be with a man or a woman that knows what they want and know who they are, and they're like confident, and then they meet that person and they're terrified of it. And it's like, oh, you got strong energy. Oh, you know, you got a strong will. And it's like, no, I just know who I am. I mean, I listen to people that disagree with me. I talk with people of all different backgrounds and this and that. It's just, I know who Dan Tortora is, because if I don't know who he is, someone's going to tell me who he is. And God forbid I listen to that, then what am I going to become? That's what people don't understand. If you don't know who you are, the world will tell you who you are, and then you're going to lose yourself. And yeah, so I mean, I feel like dating it's so hard nowadays, because people think too much. People blame everybody for things that happened before them. They just make it difficult. And the thing is, people want to talk about the past. I'm going to tell you this, Prince. I'm going to tell you this right now. Take it with you. Don't tell a woman about your past unless she's the right woman. It doesn't matter. You could have met a bunch of crazy women and been treated very poorly, but it's bear traps. That's all that is. When a woman or a man asks you about your past, they're trying to psychoanalyze what you did wrong and how you're the bad guy, and how they can figure out that you're the bad guy before like they knew last time that the other guy was the bad guy. It's so insane. When somebody tells me the hell they've been through, I say, I'm sorry you went through that, and I pray for them. When I tell somebody the hell I went through, they're like, we're going to figure out how you deserved it. And it's so wild to me that people are so, everything that happened to them before, they didn't catch. So now they're trying to take a good man and a good woman, and they're trying to find the red flag in you, and they're trying to force it out of you, instead of realizing that some of us are good people. Some of us are trying our best, and some of us are not going to do to them what other people did to them, but they're so quick to push people out because they didn't push the last person out. And what they realize is, when you treat life like that, you're going to lose a lot of good men and a lot of good women, and you're going to end up being alone. That's what ends up happening.
I agree. Hey, you hit it right on the nail with that one. I would add into the access. Access has created an illusion to think that you have more options than you actually do.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. The fact that you can grocery shop for a date. So, absolutely. Absolutely. So, you know, I'm an old school guy. I want to bump into someone at a bookstore. I want her to say hello. I say hello. We stop and have, you know, some tea, and we talk. I don't want to be flipping. I said to this, right, and no offense to Bumble, but I'm just saying this because the word to me is weird. I said this to one of my buddies. I said, if I'm ever at my rehearsal dinner and I say the words, I met this beautiful woman on Bumble, I want you to punch me as hard as you can in my private area.
That's wild. I feel that. I'm the same way. I used to tell people that at Syracuse, like, man, you know, I'm kind of old school. I want you to drop something in Ernie, and I pick it up for you, and we meet each other like that. I used to say that at Syracuse. Yeah. That is how I am too, though, because I mean, that's the best way to meet somebody, man. Straight up, hiding behind this internet, hiding behind all of this, man. You get to pose and be something that you're not. Some people are, and then it's a weird dynamic, man. And like you said, man, I'm a 90s baby, so I remember all of this before we had all of that. So I remember how it used to go. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
No, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. So to the women out there that want to meet through God and not through dating apps, you got two guys here on the screen, 100% of the screen. Prince-Tyson Gulley, Syracuse Orange. Go ahead. What are you gonna say?
No, I said I know they got him in Syracuse too. They out.
Syracuse Orange running back alum. If they're in Syracuse, I don't know where they are, Prince. This is my hometown. I don't know where these girls at. Syracuse Orange.
Hey there.
All right. Well, come out of the woodwork. All I will say to the good women out there is stop hiding under these dang rocks, because if I'm going to get out from under the rock and I'm going to face this zombie apocalypse, I need you to face it with me. Syracuse Orange running back alum, speaking on his journey and the 2024-25 season, as well as relationships. The man right here, Prince-Tyson Gulley. Say hi to Tonio and the rest of the family. I love you, brother, and I look forward to talking with you soon.
Yes, sir, man. You have a good one, brother.
All right, take care. That coming from Prince-Tyson Gulley here on Wake Up Call. And we are going to round out the show a little bit earlier. You can say a prayer for your guy here. I've been dealing with some stuff that's been going on with just health-wise, trying to figure out some things. So if you could just say a prayer for me, I would greatly appreciate it, as I have to run off and figure that out this morning. So big time thanks to Nick DiPillo, Jason Poles, Prince-Tyson Gulley. I love you all. I appreciate you all. I'm so grateful to God that I get to do what I love and love what I do on Facebook, YouTube, and Podbean all around the country and the world. Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. Search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. Thanks to Brooklyn Pickle down in Southern Pines, North Carolina, and in Central and Upstate New York, Carvel DeWitt. Get a buy one, get one DT Dolphin today and every Wednesday. Wildcat Sports Pub. You can also get the DT Dolphin every day of the week, but on Wednesday it says buy one, get one. The Wildcat Sports Pub, Servomation, Mother's Cupboard, Avicoli's, GG Cards and Breaks, Ma and Pa's, K9 Camp Dog Daycare, Great Lakes Honda City, Pizza Man, K9 Campground Dog Boarding, Chick-fil-A Cicero, Brian's Landing, and we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Lemoyne College Dolphins, Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse, and Binghamton University Bearcats. Find Lemoyne at LemoyneDolphins.com, Bryan and Stratton at Syracuse.bscbobcats.com, and Binghamton, go to BinghamtonBearcats.com. Have a wonderful day. Thanks to Nick. Thanks to Jason. Thanks to Prince. Thanks to you. Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. God bless. No stress. Do your best. Have a beautiful day and stay safe. Be well.